Wellness for Life is brought to you by Perham Physical Therapy, Sanford Health Clinic and Same Day Surgery Center, Perham Area Community Center, Amy Lundberg, Fitness for the Soul, Gothenburg Chiropractic Clinic, Pelican Drug Health Mart, Mojave Ottawa Community Action Partnership.
Hi, Amy Lundberg here with Fitness for the Soul television, where you are going to learn how to energize yourself, balance those hormones, and get your life back. That's what a lot of people share with me when they come see me. Amy, I just want my energy back and I want my life back. And that's where we're going to talk about. And we kind of typically look at when we get frustrated with life, we kind of look at, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. You just kind of get frustrated with your body. Clothes aren't fitting right, and we just kind of go right into exercise and nutrition, what I can improve on so that I feel better. But really, it's kind of the stress around your life, and the symptom is the body. But one of the things I'm going to share with you today is stress leads to abdominal weight gain. You've heard me speak about it. But stress and fear, we hit that fight or flight sequence of hormones going on. And one of the things is that I share with people, if you're not living your core values in your life, it is going to trigger your stress response, that fight or flight response. So one thing to look at is where you're maybe not living your core values. You might have a sense of responsibility, integrity, honesty, and all that, and you might really be doing that really well at work, but maybe not so well with family, because you're always thinking work comes first and you'll do really well at work, but how honest, full of integrity, and responsible are you feeling with your relationships in your family? Or vice versa, doing really well with family and living from your core values there, but maybe not so in your career or in other places in your life. So it's one different way to look at core values and step into where you may not be, so that you're not hitting that flight or flight response. But here's what happens. When we are kind of in that flight or fight response, the stress is triggering, it's kind of like a little, do you know, like we got a faucet, excuse me, and it's got a slow drip, a leaky faucet, it's just drip, drip, drip. Is this kind of annoying, but you just don't have time to fix it right away? Well, that's kind of what the fight or flight response is doing to the body. It's just kind of a drip, 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 drip all day. And so what it's doing is causing your cortisol to pump up, so it gives you the energy to handle the stress in your life. And I know many of you are thinking, well, I don't have a lot of stress. But I'm talking emotional stress. I'm thinking things that you really don't think are stressful in your life, but are causing that drip, drip, drip. And one of the ways to look at it is in core values. But your cortisol is going up. So the cortisol is going to go and wants more energy. So where are we going to get more energy but in sugar? So that's our blood glucose. So our blood glucose in the body is going to start to rise. So we have all this sugar being pumped into the body from the stress flight or flight response. And it's increasing the cortisol, which then is asking for the blood sugar to give us this energy. But then what happens is your insulin increases, because the insulin is what takes the sugar and puts it into the muscles, because fight or flight, you're going to either fight the tiger or you're going to flee from the tiger. But all day long, us Americans sit in front of our computers rather than fight or run. We're just sitting there seething internally without maybe realizing it. We might feel a little, oh, that was frustrating, and it might just kind of like annoying, or you might be angry, but you're stuffing it down, you're not saying anything about it. So there's a lot of things going on. That's what I'm talking about. So insulin's rising. It wants to have the glucose go into the muscles, but since we're sitting, most likely, it's going and converting to fat. And so 9 out of 10 of my clients have insulin resistance. So if you got the belly fat and the muffin top, the stress belly, whatever you may be calling it, one of the things that you may not realize is that you might be having some insulin resistance, because the insulin is rising and there's more blood glucose going into the body, but it has nowhere to go other than the fat. And it's coming from stress, more than likely. So way to look at that, look at your core values. Look at how you are taking life in emotionally, and then look at how active you are. So if you're interested in helping yourself with the blood glucose, getting your blood sugars under control, get your name on my emailing list because I have a class starting up in June that we're going to hit hardcore on that, and we are going to break that resistance that you have within yourself around the blood sugar. This is Amy Lundberg, Fitness for the Soul, aimforfitness.com. Go for it, get your name on the list, and let's get this under control. Take care, everyone, and make it great.
Coming up on Wellness for Life.
Hello, my name is Matthew Koffenberg. I am a physical therapist and I am the owner of Perm Physical Therapy. And today we're going to start a three-part series on night pain. There are a number of reasons why someone may have night pain, and it is highly recommended by me that if you do have night pain, that you really should be talking to your doctor. You should be talking to a physical therapist. You should be talking to a medical provider regarding night pain, because there's so many particular reasons why someone may have struggles with sleeping. You know, whether you are waking up in the middle of the night with pain, or whether you just can't lay on one particular side and it just hurts and you can't get to sleep. So it's recommended that you talk with your doctor so that the reason for the pain can be determined. So this three-part series is going to be specific to musculoskeletal sources of pain. What I mean by that is pain at night that's due to muscles, that's due to joints, that's due to ligaments or tendons, but some sort of muscle or some sort of joint structure that's causing that pain. So today we're going to talk specifically about the shoulder. The shoulder does cause a lot of people trouble. A lot of people out there struggle with sleeping because of shoulder pain. You know, we all have a certain side that we like to sleep on, so sometimes what will happen is you try to lay on that right side and your right arm hurts so much that you just can't fall to sleep. The main reason for that is a condition called shoulder impingement. Now, to understand what shoulder impingement is, you have to have a good idea of the anatomy of the shoulder. So over here we have a picture of the shoulder. And so if you look at the shoulder joint itself, it is a ball and socket joint. So this bone here, or this arm bone, is called the humerus. And the top part of the humerus is shaped like a ball. And then we have on the back side, we have this triangular shaped bone, which is called the shoulder blade or the scapula. And so the humerus comes in and attaches right into that scapula. Now, as we look at the shoulder, we can simplify it and just really think of the shoulder as kind of like a house. It's got a ceiling, it's got a floor, and then it's got some occupants in the living space of that house. So if we look at the ceiling of the shoulder ceiling is made up of the shoulder blade itself. Actually, part of that shoulder blade rounds itself around up onto the top part. So if you bang your shoulder up here, that hard bony prominence in your shoulder is part of your shoulder blade, and that creates the ceiling of our shoulder. We then look at the floor of the shoulder. The floor of the shoulder is actually the top part of this arm bone. That rounded part here is the floor of our shoulder joints. We've got the ceiling, and then we've got the floor, and then we've also got some occupants that are inside that living space. Now, the occupants are not shown on this particular picture, but what you can see is a space in between that ceiling and the floor. And there are occupants in that space. Now, what sits in there is our rotator cuff. We also have our bicep tendon that sits in that space, and then we also have a structure called the bursa. The bursa is a fluid-filled sac that acts as a lubricant for the shoulder joint itself. It reduces pressure inside the shoulder joint. So those structures sit inside the living space of the shoulder. Now, an impingement is when those three structures, the cuff tendon, the bicep tendon, and the bursa, it's when those three structures in essence get squished. So there are many different reasons why those occupants could get squished. One of them is that the ceiling could come down to the floor. One of the reasons for that is posture. You know, if we sit in really poor posture, that causes our shoulder blade to come forward. So if this hand is my shoulder blade and this is my arm, if I have poor posture, that shoulder blade is going to tilt down, decreasing that space. Another thing that can happen is actually the floor can come up to the ceiling. And that usually happens if the rotator cuff is really weak. Again, looking at that shoulder joint, the job of the rotator cuff is to take my arm bone here take that arm bone and actually pull it down. When the rotator cuff contracts, that arm bone actually comes down and it increases that space. If the rotator cuff is weak, that arm bone is actually going to migrate upward and squish those occupants. The final thing that can squish those occupants is if we have a tightness in what we call the shoulder joint capsule. The shoulder joint capsule basically sits around the entire shoulder joint. If that's really tight, it'll actually compress the whole joint together, and that will cause a compression or a squishing of those occupants. When those occupants get squished, they get irritated, they get inflamed, and we have pain. At night, if we lay on our side, those occupants have already been irritated during the day. It then really hurts a lot at night, and we end up with a ton of pain and the inability to sleep. Next time we are going to continue this three-part series. Next time we're going to talk about the hip joint and pain at night because of hip pain. A lot of that is due to what we call hip bursitis. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call here at Perham Physical Therapy, 218-346-2464. Again, thank you very much, and next time we will continue our three-part series on night pain, and next time we will specifically address the hip.
Thank you for watching Wellness for Life, brought to you by Perham Physical Therapy, Sanford Health Clinic and Same Day Surgery Center, Perham Area Community Center, Amy Lundberg, Fitness for the Soul, Gothenburg Chiropractic Clinic, Pelican Drug Health Mart, Mojave Ottawa Community Action Partnership,